If it is Tuesday, it is recruiting day with Jason Sukamel of Orange Bloods, Rivals, On Three. you named the conglomerate. Jason represents it at this moment, and it's time to talk recruiting. And Jason, the one thing that, and I say one thing, Sark's done a lot of things well, but the interesting thing is, and I want to have the conversation about the quarterback, because Peyton Houston is a guy who is kind of a little bit in the news. He's a guy I think that Texas fans kind of need to get to know. Sark is good about getting his quarterbacks, Jason, right? He's got a pretty good track record as far as that. Tell everybody what they need to know about Peyton Houston and why he's so relevant. And why are you smiling, by the way?
I'm reading the chat and everybody's like, why are they late? And like Sook's choosing his hat, text guy. Like, you're not too far off, text guy. I was part of the reason we're a few minutes late, but no, it wasn't because I was choosing my hat. I was scrambling around doing some work stuff. So the chat always just has a shit-eating grin smile on my face, right? So Peyton Houston, what do we need to know? We've talked about him. I'm sure we've talked about him on your show before, Onmore. He's a 2027 guy out of Evangel Christian Academy in Shreveport, right? Powerhouse program it's been a powerhouse program for as long as I can remember. The reason there's a buzz about Peyton Houston this week is because he had a throwing session with Boobie Feaster, the five-star receiver in the 2026 class, who also has Louisiana ties. Those two know each other. And Peyton Houston's out there, and Boobie tweeted the video. So Peyton didn't broadcast it, but Boobie did. And Peyton's decked out head to toe, dude. Texas shirt, Texas shorts. But I'll say this: when Boobie tweeted the video, Peyton didn't ignore it. He retweeted it and said something to Boobie about, hey, playing together in college. Well, that won't be at Texas if that happens. So, why Peyton Houston's a big talking point. He's a really good player. He's a Rivals. He was potentially a five-star. Rivals just updated their 2027 rankings yesterday. He fell, I think he was number 5 overall. He's now number 44, so he's just outside of that five-star category now. But, he's been to Texas a bunch. He visited there multiple times this spring. That I guess technically we're still in the spring, right? So to me, it feels more like summer. It's 100 degrees. It's supposed to be today. Can we just call it summer, Onmore? It's summer. Yeah.
First of all, I don't know how, Jason. I'm trying to understand how we're starting out in the mornings in the 60s, and then we're going to finish at 100 today.
Dude, I was like outside this weekend doing some stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I sat on my back porch and had a beer, and I'm like, this is great. And then I saw the weather forecast. 106 on Wednesday. I'm like, what the hell? How do we go from this to that? But anyways, Peyton Houston this spring, that last spring, the one that's just ended in my book, did visit Texas on multiple occasions. Now, here's the deal, Almar. He's visited a bunch of places. He's been to LSU, Oklahoma. I think he's been to Texas A&M. He's a well-traveled young man, doesn't spend a lot of weekends at home. But the fact that he showed up wearing that Texas gear, I'm like, okay, I'm going to take note of that because a couple of reasons. These kids know what they're doing, dude. They show up to camps and like the first half, they'll have Florida State gloves on. And then the second half, they'll wear Clemson gloves. They'll literally change their attire to kind of get people talking and get people guessing. I remember Riley Pettijohn last year at a Rivals national camp. He sought me out, and I knew he wasn't going to Texas. He told me the day before he wasn't going to Texas. Okay. Yeah. If you remember, Riley Pettijohn, the five-star linebacker, everybody thought he was going to Texas. He shows up at the Rivals deal and kind of tells me off the record, nah, I'm not going to Texas. Okay. Well, I kind of hinted around at it. The next day, Amar, he sought me out and goes like this, showed me he had his Texas gloves on. I'm like, all right, I'll take the damn picture and I'll tweet it out for you, but I know you're not going to Texas. These kids play games like that. Peyton Houston is not a big game player, not in my experience at all. He's the furthest thing from that, okay? So, I'm not reading too much into his clothing, but I do know he likes Texas a lot. He went to a scrimmage a couple weeks ago, loved sitting in with A.J. Milwee. He actually said, hey, I loved what I saw from Arch Manning, even the development from Arch. When I saw him when he first stepped foot on campus to where he is now, he goes, they clearly develop quarterbacks well. Has Peyton Houston giving any indication he's going to commit anytime soon? Absolutely not. He is not. But Anwar, we also know quarterbacks commit early, right? The pattern is they usually commit in the summer, like June. We're mid-May now, so we're not too far off for when those quarterback dominoes usually begin to fall. So, I think Texas is squarely in the mix. There's a lot of Oklahoma chatter. In-state LSU obviously is going to be a player. But this weekend kind of opened my eyes. And I'm like, all right, you're going out there knowing people are going to be seeing this video and you're decked out in Texas gear. Is that Peyton Houston trying to throw a curveball? We'll see. But I do know he really likes Texas a lot.
Jason, let's do this, and let's kind of go through Peyton a little bit. Let's look at his rivals profile here. Let me go ahead and just put that mostly on the screen. I'm going to take the chat down for a second. So obviously, I just want to kind of go through here where you kind of just narrate this a little bit for us. He's got offers from just about everybody. I do appreciate, by the way, whoever took the time to put in the Georgia Southern and Grambling State offers.
Yeah.
and even Louisiana Tech. So, but I appreciate whoever was like, hey, listen, I know we got to get the Florida State offer in, but somebody put in Grambling State just to let them know, he's a part of it, right?
I get kids like that hit me up all the time. They have like 50 offers. Like, hey, can you add Southwestern Louisiana State? I'm like, really, dude? Do you really need your ego stroked that much, or you need that 51st offer put on your profile?
So let's go through some of the visits here. You talked about Oklahoma and some chatter there. I'm looking at 4 visits in 2024. A visit back in March of this year. As I go through this, there was a Tennessee visit last year.
Texas visit, I need to go in and update. He did take an April visit to Texas as well, so I need to go in and add that one.
Damn it, Jason!
Hey, man, too many kids, too many visits. I was too busy putting in that Grambling State offer for him.
Like Grambling State, like what they're like, hey, man, what are you using that as leverage for the other quarterback that they offered? Like, hey, if you don't commit to us now, just let you know that Peyton Houston's on the hook. Like, okay, Grambling State, good. Do what you do. So you got 4 visits to Texas. There was a Texas A&M. And interesting because Boopy was wearing a Texas A&M shirt.
He was in the same video. Yeah.
And then there's Notre Dame. So if I'm just going off of this,
and there's not a single LSU visit listed, which is completely. I mean, the truth is, it's on the publisher of each site to put in these visits. Sometimes I'll put in other visits if I'm just in there and I know he's been somewhere, but some schools are just not good about putting in their visits. I promise you, he's been to LSU multiple times.
I can't have the Grambling State thing in here. I get he didn't visit Grambling State, but damn it, LSU, who's the LSU pub?
You're the home. I don't even know.
No, okay, it's okay. The LSU, whoever is the pub for LSU, update this stuff. Like, we need to know these things. So more than like, so if I just go off of this, it seems like LSU, Oklahoma, Texas A&M. If I had to come through his top 4, maybe there's somebody else that's out there. I don't know. Maybe visit maybe Notre Dame. Is that a fairish tie? If you had to guess who his top schools were at this point, and I know you'd be guessing.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair assessment, though. I did ask him. I'm looking. He's visited USC, Penn State. I'm going to our partners at On3 and their stuff. He's visited Michigan, Georgia. I mean, come on. There's a lot of visits in there that are not updated. A bunch of LSU visits. Ole Miss.
Shannon Terry.
Been to Southern Cal multiple times. Yeah.
I know you got a lot of things on your plate, but making sure people update these visits.
I've been bitching and moaning about this for 20 years, and clearly the On3 site guys do a better job than some rival site guys. So thankfully we're merging with them, so we'll have the best of both worlds. But yeah, I mean, USC, multiple visits, LSU, multiple visits, Texas, Oklahoma, obviously multiple visits, Georgia, he's been to Michigan, Notre Dame, Penn State. I think that's fair to say. And I'd put USC in that category as well, just in talking to Peyton Houston. I did ask Peyton, I saw him, 2 weeks ago or something. And he's at a Rivals camp. And I said, hey, realistic. I said, you don't have to give me a list because you haven't dropped it yet. But I said, how many schools realistically are you considering? He said, 5, maybe 6. So I think the ones you talked about, Texas, Oklahoma, LSU, Texas A&M, and probably USC, I think I'd put in that 5th spot there.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, I think that's kind of the grouping that he'll choose from. Anything outside of that would be a bit of a surprise. But yeah, I do think it's among those schools you mentioned, plus probably USC.
The Oklahoma thing's fascinating to me, and this is why if I'm an elite prospect and I look at what went down with Jackson Arnold, why would you ever consider Oklahoma if you could come in as a 5-star prospect and don't get developed? And you can blame it on the former OC, whatever you want to say, right? You don't get developed. You end up getting benched, right? They run off Dylan Gabriel for you. You end up getting benched, and then you have to go into the transfer portal. You kind of waste your time when it's all said and done, and you got a coach who's probably on the hot seat. I don't even see it. Like, what world does Oklahoma even be in the mix for a guy like this?
You're preaching to the choir. I mean, there are future cast picks, or a future cast pick. I don't know how many I need to look in for Oklahoma, meaning there's someone in the Rivals network, and I think it's our Oklahoma publisher our Oklahoma writer, has a future cast pick in for Peyton Houston to pick Oklahoma. Now that was almost a year ago, so I was put in a long time ago. I'm with you, dude. If I'm a quarterback, USC, sure. Texas, sure. I mean, LSU, their coaching staff's kind of whatever, but they've produced good quarterbacks too, including Nussmeier is going to be a successful guy there. Oklahoma, their track record under Brent Venables at quarterback, not so great, right? Mm-hmm. And who knows what Brent Venables' future is going to look like in 6 months. Yeah. So I certainly wouldn't commit to Oklahoma right now if I'm a quarterback. It's a much safer bet to commit to a Texas or a USC or, frankly, even a Texas A&M. I mean, Mike Elko's not going anywhere. Is that the most quarterback-friendly offense? Probably not. But there's some stability in terms of the coaching staff there. So the Oklahoma stuff is a little bit interesting to me, Anwar, that there's so much Oklahoma buzz and he's been there so many times. Mm-hmm. But I mean, he obviously has an affinity for them, for that program, for that coaching staff. But maybe he's going to kind of slow it down to kind of wait to see how this season goes. If he truly wants to go to Oklahoma, like this future cast would indicate, I wouldn't commit this summer. I'm with you. I would wait things out and maybe wait till, a month into the fall season. You have a better idea of what their season is going to look like, what Brent Venables' future is going to look like.
The interesting thing, as I was watching that video that, and I put that in the chat for you guys as well. What was striking, I was like, he's definitely not the tallest quarterback that Sark is. Like, Sark usually likes him, the Archman and that 6'5" kind of thing. Trey Owens, he's a big guy as well.
KJ Lacey's around 6 foot. Diaz about 6'2". I mean, you had Bryce Young at Alabama, who's right at 6 foot, right? So, Peyton Houston is listed right at 6 foot. And if I'm being honest, Anwar, that's probably a generous listing. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So he is undersized by a traditional standpoint, but I mean, you're kind of getting away. You're not getting away from it, but teams aren't like just completely enamored with the Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, 6'5" guys. I mean, you see Kyler Murray types and, guys who are 6'2" going. So, bottom line is he's a really good player with a really good arm, a really good head for the game. This is the young man, you remember, threw for, 817 yards or something like that in one game. And
in the game that they lost.
Lost in overtime. Then he ran for like 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, so ultra productive player. I've seen him at a bunch of these camps, and everyone I go to is like, he's the best player at the camp. I mean, best quarterback at the camp, including the Elite 11 camp, which brings in quarterbacks from, we had quarterbacks from all over the country. Elite 11 regional camp in Austin. Very windy day out there, not real favorable environment, but Peyton Houston, man, he just produces every single time I see him. And I'm like, every time I see him, like, okay, that dude's a little undersized and maybe he's a little overranked. And then I watch him throw. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. I get it again. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's why there's a big discrepancy in his ranking. Like, let me pull this up. So, Rivals now has him at 44. ESPN doesn't have a ranking assigned to him. I don't know how that happens. On 3, 157 nationally. 24/7, 200 nationally. I think I said this on Orange Bloods today. I said if he was 6'2", 6'3", I think he'd be a consensus 5-star. Okay, but the fact that he's 6 foot, maybe a shade under, I think that gives people a little bit of pause. But then you go watch that dude throw, watch him, look at his stats. You're like, oh, okay, I get it. So, you know, if Sark and Milwee want him, that's all I need to hear, dude. Those, I'm gonna trust their evaluations every single time.
All right, Jared, I'll get to your super chat now, and then we'll get back to the conversation.
You're gonna have to answer this because I have not seen this tweet, so I hope you know what he's talking about. So
yeah, the Jonah Williams getting people fired up, making the internet mad. Jonah Williams, if you just go look it up, behind the plate, he's been wild. He's just kind of getting himself fired up. Jared, I'm gonna tell you like this. I'll give you my take. The older I have gotten, the more secure I am within my age, the more I don't really care about what young people do. I just don't. I don't bother myself with it. That's just their thing. Like, I'm at an age, I'm not trying to learn new dances, right? I'm not trying to, I'm comfortable who I am. I don't overreact to what kids do on Twitter. When the kids tweet things out and, oh, he's wearing this shirt and he's not, and I don't mean like the conversation Jason and I are having, but all these little things that it's like, oh, this kid did this and, now he's disrespectful, but I don't care. I'm like, if you ask, this is my take, right? My take is whatever Jonah Williams wants to do to pump himself up, so be it. The whole sanctity of baseball is so overhyped and it's such a BS thing that they've acted like there's this sanctity of the sport. Man, it's a sport. Calm down. If that's how the young man pumps himself up, who cares? He came back the next day and did the damn thing. So whatever. If here's my deal, and last thing I'll say on it, Jared, if his coach doesn't have a problem with it, I don't have a problem with it. I'm not going to be more upset than the coach. If the coach is cool, it's like, this is what my guy does. It's what my guy does. I literally don't give a damn.
I'm sitting here watching, and I did see a little bit this the other day, and I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it, but I'm a little different on where I'm an old school baseball guy. I hate all the, I don't like guys tossing their bat when they hit a home run. Aaron Judge, favorite player, best player in baseball. You've never seen that dude taunt a pitcher. If anybody has a reason to taunt a pitcher, it's Aaron Judge, right? He's never done. I've never seen him do it. He gets bad calls against him. He doesn't call out the ump. I don't know. I'm just kind of an old school traditionalist when it comes to baseball. Jonah's a young dude. I'm a little surprised just based on what I see or what I know of Jonah, him doing that. I mean, they were down 8-1 in the game, so it's not really the time. But I don't know the backstory. Maybe he and this pitcher have a history. I don't know what the hell's going on there. And also say, like, I'm kind of in between. Like, Juan Soto, a guy who played for the Yankees last year. He's not quite that demonstrative, but, he does this kind of step deal after every pitch. And it just, it's just kind of the new era of baseball. You're seeing a lot more of this stuff.
Ricky Henderson wasn't arrogant.
Well, Ricky was the exception, though. Ricky was the ultimate exception, and Ricky was like my favorite player. Ironically, I had a Ricky Henderson poster on my wall growing up. Ricky and Reggie Jackson were my two idols. So,
I just want to say, like, if you want to go into like the whole sanctity of stuff, like there is
some accomplishments with baseball, though. You're right.
Yes, right? There are certain things. Pete Rose was arrogant. When he played, like at times, right? So there's he's not the first one. Like there's plenty of guys who
Yeah, but Ricky would do it when he stole a base or hit a home run. He didn't do it after every single pitch when he drew a walk. I mean, this is a little different level, but it's just kind of the world we live in now. I mean, you see more celebration in football and basketball. It's just people are having more fun. Call it what you want. You got old crotchety people like me who are like, no, just keep your head down and go to work. But I mean, whatever, man. Like, I don't have a problem with it. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't advise my players to do it if I was a coach, but it's kind of the world we live in now. Just, I mean, Jonah Williams isn't the only one celebrating those kinds of things.
Again, for me, unless his coach is freaking out about it, like why why do
I love all the people saying like, and I'm fine. Rex says I agree with Almar. Jason needs to go ahead and check into an old folks home. I guarantee if Texas was playing Texas A&M and an A&M player was doing that, they would be bashing that dude all over the place. But because it's Jonah, one of our own, and listen, we all love Jonah, and listen, anything Jonah does on the diamond is not going to affect me because I've talked to the guy. He's a tremendous young man. So we're all going to defend him because he's one of ours. But yeah, if that happened when Texas was playing Oklahoma or A&M or Arkansas, people would be all over that dude. So
I mean, I'm sure. I'm just saying, the difference between your old and my old is my old says, I don't care what them kids do. Let them do what the hell they're gonna do. That's got nothing to do with me.
My biggest issue is it was 8-1. You're losing 8-1, dude. Like if that was
how many times have we seen it in football? You're playing against a UTSA and the guy gets a first down. He's like this, right?
Well, I hate that too. Yeah, like really need scoreboard. Check out the scoreboard.
Maybe UTSA isn't the best example. Somebody else who's getting blown out because I won't say that. I like the coach there, so I won't bash it. But anybody, it just man. Young people, I don't care what young people wear. I don't care how they talk. I don't care what they do on social media. Like, I'm a grown ass man. Like, I literally worry about grown folks stuff. I don't get in young people's business. Y'all just do what the hell y'all do. Because we were young and we did stupid stuff, and our parents thought we were dumb.
Still probably do, Onward. Truthfully, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Jared. Thanks for your super chat. So, Jason, as relates getting back to the subject at hand and Peyton Houston, right? You did talk about that. Is the commitment usually comes, at some point in the summer. So it's a kind of a two-pronged question. Do you know if he's got anything scheduled in June as far as visiting again? Because I think if not, there is a major recruiting event coming up. Is it the pool party in June or what's going on?
Pool party. Well, they haven't announced the pool party, but there's an event going on like June 1st. I'm assuming it'll be like a pool party or something. They have 2 elite camps coming in June. So they're going to have guys coming to campus. I asked Peyton, again, this was like 2 weeks ago. So, week and a half ago, I guess. So things can change in a hurry with a guy like Peyton Houston who takes a lot of visits. At that time, he did not have any June visits. He goes, yeah, my mom kind of maps all that stuff out for me. And then it's usually he and his dad or he and his mom and dad. But he did not have anything scheduled for June. I fully expect that'll change. I think he'll take multiple visits in June. That's just who he is. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing I think he'll probably be back in Austin again.
Okay. Becomes my big question as we're having the conversation about Peyton and the 2027. Jason, if for some reason they don't get him, but who's plan? Is there a plan B that's in place that you're saying, okay, they're also heavily recruiting this guy or these guys?
Yeah, there are some other guys they're recruiting. They haven't offered them yet, so that's and honestly, some of these guys are coming in June. Malachi Ziegler is another quarterback out of Louisiana. Colton Nussmeier, quarterback from Texas. Garrett Nussmeier's younger brother. Gunnar Rivers, Phillip Rivers' kid. He's a weird one because he doesn't like talk about his offer, so I don't even know if Texas has offered him yet.
Well, first of all, which number kid is he? Because Phillip is.
There's that too. Yeah. So,
and what does his throwing motion look like?
Yeah, formally, I don't think they've technically offered, but it could be like one of those, hey, if you want it, you've got it. So there are some other guys. Again, like Ziegler's coming to the June camp, the elite camp. He's going to throw in front of the coaches. So if they like what they see, they might offer there. So they've got some irons in the fire with other guys. But right now, Peyton Houston is the only 2027 guy that's uncommitted that has an offer from Texas. There's another guy they offered who committed to Ohio State a long time ago. So right now it seems like it's Peyton Houston or bust, but I think they've got a plan. The staff knows what they're doing. They've got communication lines open with several other targets.
One of the last things that I'll ask you, Jason, is just wrap up the quarterback conversation, right? And you and I haven't talked about this in a while, which is Texas never has gone to the transfer portal to get a quarterback. They finally did that recently. I'd just like to get your thoughts on them getting this, Troy quarterback Matthew Caldwell. I guess it was like a week or so ago. And what your thoughts on that? Because that hasn't been Sark's MO at all.
Yeah, ironically, that happened on Sunday. That was the same day I'm talking about that I saw Peyton Houston. I was literally driving home from when I saw Peyton Houston when that news happened or broke. Yeah, a little bit interesting to me. I don't like. To me, you got your starter in Arch. You got Trey Owens. You've got KJ Lacey, who did really well by all accounts this spring. But did Owens take that step forward that they were hoping for? Maybe not. KJ Lacey maybe exceeded expectations, but he's a true freshman, right? Early enrollee. You don't know what you really have gotten KJ Lacey yet. You want to see him, in summer camp, and then you got to see him in a game, frankly, before you really know what you have in a guy who hasn't played. So to me, you're not bringing this transfer in to necessarily be your second quarterback. Could he be? Yeah, maybe. But I don't think the coaches would even know the answer to that. I think they're just bringing him in like, hey, man, we need kind of numbers at this position. God forbid, in case something happens and Arch has to miss a little bit of time, that gives you options. Like if you were to ask, I don't know, I'd be curious to know if Sark had to answer that question right now. Week 2 of the football season, Arch gets hurt. He has to miss the second half. Who is your second quarterback? Who's the first guy off the bench? I don't know if Sark would know the answer to that. Is it Trey Owens? Because that's kind of where he was going into spring. I don't know. Did KJ Lacey pass him up? Is the transfer quarterback now going to be that guy? I don't know the answer. And honestly, I don't even know if Sark or AJ Milwee would know the answer to that. So, but I did think it was interesting, but I kind of understand why they did it. The young man, you look at his stats, and obviously hadn't played at a place like Texas. He's not going to blow you away, but if you just need someone to come in and maybe drive the bus and manage a game or a half and, not shoot himself in the foot, then maybe this transfer can get it done.
The fascinating part, Jason, is if they've gone through the spring and they decided that they didn't know who would be the backup, that actually might be the more telling thing, Jason, that if they went through it and said, you know what, I don't know, we have confidence in this. And
maybe I'm misreading it, though. To me, that's a good omen for KJ, but not so good for Trey, right? Maybe I'm misreading that, right? But if they don't know who their number 2 is, everybody fully expected it to be Trey Owens, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that he's not your clear number 2, well, that to me says, hey, KJ probably did better than expected, and maybe Trey came back a little bit. So, but yeah. Then the tough part gets on where, okay, if you've got 2 guys who are pretty even, sometimes that's tough making the right call, right? You got to pray that you pick the right guy, because I've seen that happen before too. You're like, oh shit, you picked the wrong guy out of those 2 choices, and you should have gone with the other guy in hindsight. So but they've got all summer, they got fall camp to figure it out. So we'll see how it shapes up.
Yeah, the thing is, last thing I'll add on that, Jason, is that Sark knows that QBs are delicate, and bringing in a guy could also mean that, another guy decides like I'm probably going to leave. He understands those kind of things. So if he went and did that, knowing that hey, that could push another guy in the portal, and he was okay with it, that might be telling as well. So we'll see what happens when the guy finally gets here on campus. He won't get into the summer. It's going to take, may take him some while to catch up, so on and so forth. But to your point, though, Jason, though, and I think I've done this study before, and I think I've done it every year. I don't know if Texas has ever – I don't know. I can't remember the last time Texas has made it through an entire season without a quarterback getting banged up or hurt. And it's
been a while, right? Like
it's – dude, I've done it from – started from David Ash on,
Sam never quite did it, right? Did he miss? I know he played
Sam
hurt.
got banged up as well. Sam got banged up. Sam was banged up a lot. You remember?
Well, he would play through a lot of it sometimes, I thought. But yeah, I think he did miss some games, right?
He did.
Quinn,
Sam
obviously.
some games. Shane missed some games. Then there's
you have to go back quite a ways. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you would have to really go back a while.
BY.
It's not a dumb move by any stretch of the imagination. We saw it all, with Quinn the whole time.
Honestly,
so
maybe Colt might have been the most recent one. I mean, I'm not even joking.
No, it's not good. Like it's not good. Like it's not good. So knock on wood for that. All right, Jason. I know we got Modcast today. I know we got a meeting in a little bit. So I know you got a busy day. So
yeah, I'll see you online here in a little bit. So.
All right, man. Get out of here, dude. Jason Sukumel of Rival /Orange Blood /On3 / we do everything. It's like hey man. Y'all remember that from In Living Color? Hey man, you only got one job. Me got 3 jobs, 5 jobs. That's kind of us at this point. We are kind of like the Haymans of doing this recruiting thing / everything else. So if you joined us late, you know what to do. Go back, check it out. We got some, look, we're trying to give you content here in May. So we're doing our damnness. It's a rough months ahead. I'm just gonna tell you like that. But we're gonna do our best. We're gonna be back at noon too for the Modcast, where we got some fun stuff that we're gonna talk about. The big noon game potentially with Ohio State and Texas, or Texas and Ohio State. Don't want to offend anybody. Talk a little bit about things like that. We got some things planned. I'll be back tomorrow. I got some ideas for my show tomorrow. So stay tuned. So I don't have a vacation for a little while, so I should be around. So y'all got me. I'm here. I'm locked and loaded. Go out today. Do something special for yourself. Do something special for yourself, because them kids getting out of school soon. My kids are out of school for the summer beginning next Friday. So I'm doing all the kind of special things for myself now before these little boogers are staring me face to face. And as I said, look, man, if you grown and you complain about Jonah Williams, let them kids be kids. Golly. Let them young folks be young folks. Be grown. Learn, get a fan and learn to do dance. Y'all take care. Where the fans at? That's what y'all need to be doing. Stop worrying about Jonah Williams.